So if there's anything Thomas loves looking forward to when he's on his branch line, other than doing his job, it's water. That's a tad weird to me. For someone who's always in a hurry and can't spend time waiting on quote-unquote fat engines like Henry, why would he even care? Fishing is a sport of patience, not flying by the seat of your pants. Maybe it's the fact that Thomas runs on water? I don't know. That's the only similarities I see between the two. Even his driver knows that's not something for Thomas.
What would the Fat Controller say if we were late? Every time he met another engine, he would say, "I want to fish." But they all had the same answer. Engines don't go fishing.
That sounds about right. What engine would have that kind of personal wish? All Thomas has is a face. So how would he fish? One day when Thomas was done at a station, he was getting ready to fill up on water, but the one nearby was empty. So what do you know? His driver recommends they get water from a river not far off, which is the next logical choice if you need water at that very moment. When they reached the bridge, they began to fill Thomas's tank.
Then the driver let the bucket down to the water. The bucket was old and had 5 holes. So they had to fill it, pull it up, and empty it into Thomas's tank as quickly as they could, several times over.
I don't see any problem there when it comes to how they have to refill Thomas. But a bucket with 5 holes? What's the point of even having or using it? What, was someone playing target practice with their revolver earlier that morning? Meanwhile, we get a tune that is another rendition of the turntable music back at the first episode.
They finished at last.
Shortly after, though, Thomas began running into trouble. For Thomas, it was like a stomachache that needed to be relieved.
Steam began to hiss from his safety valve in an alarming way. "There's too much steam," said his driver. "Oh dear," groaned Thomas. "I'm going to burst. I'm going to burst."
To avoid any further issues, Thomas's driver and fireman move him slowly towards a siding and call an engine inspector, aka a train doctor, to see what the problem is. They also placed warning signs around him until a more accurate diagnosis was given. Once the train doctor arrived, who oddly enough looks like Ringo Starr again, and with top hat, the first thing they checked were the tanks. To their amazement, they ended up discovering fish inside Thomas's tanks.
"Gracious goodness me, how did the fish get there, driver?" "We must have fished them from the river with our bucket," replied Thomas's driver. "Well, Thomas, so you and your driver have been fishing, but fish don't suit you. We must get them out."
Well, in all honesty, Thomas got what he desired so much. It's more astonishing to me that whatever fish actually got into his tanks remained alive. After all, the water just doesn't sit there. Additionally, Thomas's operators must be blind for the fact that they didn't see any fish at all in their metal tin can when refilling him. But since these fish were still living, somehow, Top Hat directed them how to literally fish them out. When they caught them all, they ended up eating them right after. Boiled fish. Thomas's face almost speaks the lines, "I've never felt so unclean."
"That was good," said the Fat Controller. "But fish don't suit you, Thomas, so you mustn't do it again." "No, sir, I won't," said Thomas sadly. "Engines don't go fishing. It's too uncomfortable."
It's not even that it would be uncomfortable. Trains in general don't fish. That's it. This will always be a classic episode, but logically, there's just too many questions going on here. The fact that Thomas's driver and fireman are oblivious to all things in the water and use a non-functioning bucket is silly. Also, Thomas's motive on him fishing aren't clear either. What happened an episode ago where Thomas is Mr. Busybody and has no time to wait? I do give credit, though, as to why the river was used to refill Thomas and the fact that fishing could be interesting to watch, if you didn't know what it involved. But in the end, Thomas learns exactly what's already kind of known. Humans fish, not trains. No new tunes are heard, but the music is still enjoyable. The sets have expanded a little more on their range here. At Farquhar Station, we now know there's a sighting right nearby, just out of frame. And the close-ups on the human figures next to Thomas's tanks are something different too. That's all I got on this one, though. Not a great one, but still classic nonetheless. Next episode is Thomas, Terrence, and the Snow. Thanks for watching.